is a sign-up sheet. If you're coming in late and you wish to speak, just come down and sign up. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr.
My name is Jim Nelson, the 5 Old Colony Road in Monroe. I was going to talk about specific suggestions or ideas rather than general things. I think a lot of the problem with the budget really has to do with salaries. I think it has to do with things like the lack of an adequate prepaid share in the health insurance. Or I was wondering when the attorney was speaking what the town pays in fees for just negotiating this whole contract process. I think the final contract document is about 200, 300 pages thick, something like that. And I think that's part of the problem. Anybody who has to write a contract that's 200 pages long should never be even submitted to arbitration. It's ridiculous. It creates an endless list of grievances, and the major expense and cost and burden to everyone is the endless parade of grievances. But I wanted to add, though, there's a lot of things that we can do in a more positive way to increase the quality of education and cut costs. We teach today, by the way, I've been president of a parochial school board on another school board, and I've taught at 3 universities, so my background in education isn't totally just teaching my kids, although I say that probably the best educator in the world is the parent of their own kids. I think number one is the way we're teaching is almost like a 19th century industrial model. We put 30 kids into a classroom and we treat Johnny and Susie like they're all identical. I don't think there's one parent that's going to say that my kid is like every other kid. We now have the technology that every business and industry in America and around the world is now employing, which is using, for example, IP-based curriculums. If we were to offer a dramatic expansion of AP courses and IP curriculums, right now the union essentially has a stranglehold over that. A lot of our young people could graduate from high school not in 4 years if they chose to, if they wanted to. Nobody has to, but in 3. That would mean that the amount of kids in the school at a particular time is reduced. That means the cost, the number of teachers and facilities correspondingly cut. Another thing that happens with AP courses is if we encourage students to take AP courses as much as possible, a lot of kids will graduate with enough credits that they can graduate from college instead of in 4 years in 3, or instead of 5 years in 4. 59% of the kids who go to college today take 5 years to graduate. It costs $40,000 a year to go to college. It doesn't take mom and dad very long to figure out the math on that one. And most young kids, if they can get up through and save that kind of money, particularly the cost of financing education, would love to do that. I think part of being a great school board and a great community for education is to make it more possible and more flexible for our young people to go to college and to graduate from college in an affordable way. Right now, the system as it's set up precludes almost everything that I'm talking about. Another way to dramatically cut the cost of education is the fact that we go to school for 2 semesters. Now, that was great when 98% of America was agrarian. But there's no reason in the world that we couldn't have school all year round. We've got the buildings, we've got the resources, we've got the teachers. Theoretically, they're paid to work all year round. I'm not saying kids should be required to go to school in the summer, but those who would want to, and a lot do want to, could take an extra courses during the summer, and again, you would have a higher percentage graduating in 3 years instead of 4, if they chose to do so. You would have a lot of students graduating with additional credits that would help them get through college again, saving $30,000 to $40,000 in tuition. So these are just some of the things I thought I'd throw on the table and get people thinking about it. It doesn't always have to be a zero-sum game. However, there has to be sufficient control in the town and in the school board to be able to implement change so young people can realize their full potential. I know there's a lot of kids that go home to their parents and complain all the time that they are absolutely bored blank in having to sit through in class every day. So That's all I have to say.
How about you?